Anyways, I wanted to just end this episode by giving a brief update on Ukraine. Since Wednesday's episode, things have not gone too well. It was interesting to see the news go from Tuesday evening, oh, there could be a chance of something positive happening here, to completely just flipped, like, nope, it's still not good. I don't want to say I was right, I was just kind of not wrong that Russia was not retreating for good faith reasons. It seems like they were just changing their strategy, which is not surprising based on, the actions of the Putin regime. Now, one positive thing I did see today is that Russian officials on Friday, sorry, we got a loud vehicle. There we go. Is that on Friday, the Russians are allowing 42 buses with residents from Mariupol depart, and they are departing from the neighboring occupied city near Mariupol. And I guess that's good. The Associated Press reported that. I also saw that Ukraine has claimed that Russian forces have left Chernobyl and handed over control again. I guess that's good. But then I did see on Fox just a little bit ago that there's been a clash inside of Zelensky's own ranks in which he has demoted two of his own generals, describing them as traitors. So that's interesting. I haven't really seen too much more on it at this time. But I don't think we want to break down inside of the Ukrainian ranks right now, just because it's their solidarity and just rhetoric that I think has been so helpful and useful right now. And so, going a little bit on is like, while this evacuation of people from Mariupol sounds great, I also did read today as well that the International Committee of the Red Cross did say that its attempt to evacuate residents in Mariupol failed, and they were going to try again on Saturday. I also read that the entry into this city is now considered very dangerous, so I'm not sure how easy an evacuation would be. Like, there is technically this corridor that's been allowed, but again, like, just from what we're also seeing is that there's still shelling and bombing and all that. So there's also another kind of fascinating story coming out of Russia that is worrying to me and almost smells like a false flag event, but I'm not going to get too tinfoil hat at this time, but apparently Russia is blaming Ukraine for the bombing of a fuel depot inside of Russia, semi-close to Moscow. And Forbes writes in quotes here, a top Ukrainian security official has denied Ukraine was responsible for a helicopter attack on a fuel depot in the Russian city of Belgorod earlier on Friday, after Ukraine's foreign and defense ministries neither denied nor confirmed these allegations. The article also notes here that, in quotes, the oil depot is run by a Russian firm Rosneft, and it is located around 21 miles north of Russia's border with Ukraine. Now, as I've said on many occasions, if Russia is blaming others for doing something, they've usually done it or are going to do it themselves. That just seems to be the rhetoric that's coming out, at least in this war. I just can't help but wonder if they know they're not doing well, morale is low. Do you look for a justification to use more force? Again, I'm not putting on a tinfoil hat here at this point, but that would not be a good iteration of events coming. So I think the only thing we do know is that this bombing of this oil depot or fuel depot did happen. Reuters did corroborate it, sorry, I can't speak today, verifying security footage that showed an explosion on the ground following what appeared to be a missile fired at a low altitude. So we do know it's happened. Who did it and why? Of course, information is not great on both sides, so it's a little bit difficult. And I just wanted to wrap it up with a recommendation for an article that just came out yesterday. It's the main story from The Economist this week, and it's called Why Ukraine Must Win. A decisive victory could transform the security of Europe. And the article looks at how people in Ukraine really have been so useful. This people power that Zelensky talks about has really been crucial in them holding up to Russia so far. And it's absolutely worth noting this. But the article also goes on to discuss how Zelensky says he needs more weapons, he needs more equipment, and he wants there to be tougher sanctions still. And the article just discusses how the West is quite hesitant. The West and NATO are hesitant to do any more. And the article just does a great job of talking about why Ukraine needs to be given the tools to defeat Russia, or at least, make sure Russia stays out. And the article says here in quotes, a divisive victory would deter yet another Russian invasion. The more convincingly Ukraine can see off the Russian army, the more able it will be to resist the compromises that could poison the peace. The article also talks about how it would be better off for all of Europe as well if this conflict ends with a Ukrainian victory. It says in quotes here, The prize for the West would be almost as great. Not only could Ukraine invigorate the causes of democracy, but it would also enhance European security. During 300 years of imperialism, Russia has repeatedly been at war in Europe. A strong democratic Ukraine would thwart Russia's expansion because its borders would be secure. And I think that's a good point. Is like it's kind of better for everyone in Europe if Russia is not victorious here, and if Ukraine is able to keep them out and look strong. Now, obviously, there's factors at play here. Germany is thinking very short term, involving sanctions. Obviously, Germany is very close to all this, so you can understand their hesitance. But they're thinking very short sighted in this, which is problematic if you're trying to think about the big picture in a way. And also, Emmanuel Macron from France, he doesn't want to provoke Russia by expanding more NATO sanctions, and that's also very understandable. So, but I think we do need to remember that a Ukrainian victory is important here, and yeah, we're just gonna have to keep following it. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be back next week with another episode, and have a great weekend. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but the majority of sites. So take care. Have a great weekend.